Hi folks, welcome back to our channel. My name is Jana Adams and I have with me
Bryn Diaz.
And we are Happy Hour Haulers, and I am a full-time mortgage underwriting manager, and Bryn,
I'm still an operations manager in the food industry. Believe it or not, I'm not sure how much longer I can take it. But that's what I still am.
And we are part-time resellers. So if you are new to our channel, thank you so much for stopping by. If you are one of our OGs, thank you for coming back and thanks for hanging with us. I know that our videos have been a little inconsistent lately. And if you're not already subscribed, we would love to have you subscribe. If the button somewhere down there, would it be down there or down there?
I think it's down there.
I never point. Is red, go the subscribe. If it's red, go ahead and hit it so that it turns gray. Turn on the bell notification. That'll let you know when we post new videos. So as promised on our last video, this is a video that is talking about our experiences as Whatnot buyers. So this came up, we heard about Whatnot back in maybe May-ish, June-ish, and probably May, and checked out the app. Resellers were talking about it, and so we wanted to know what it was all about, and we quickly became buyers, which I'm gonna bring up point number one straight off the bat. If you are thinking about becoming a seller, then definitely, and this is actually Bryn's recommendation on our list, then you should start by being a buyer. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. If you have any desire to sell on Whatnot, I do think it is so very important that you get a good understanding of what you think works and what you think doesn't work, and your opinions on existing auctions that are currently running. I say this because we have had some suggestions from our auctions, and we feel like we are doing the right thing and we are engaging, but it's an auction and you want to be fast, you want to be quick, you want to be exciting, you want to have, a lot of energy. I think some auctions don't have a lot of energy, but I think if you want to create a niche and have your core competency, or have an auction, that is unique to your channel or your page, watch other auctions, get involved in other auctions, watch the chat, check the chat out, look how fast the chat goes. We think it's important to have another person because you get caught up in the chat sometimes and you forget that you're actually on stage. It's your show, it's live. So that's making a very long story less long, or trying to cut it short right now. I think it's important that you watch a lot of auctions, and maybe even watch some auctions that are not in your genre or not in your class that you'll be selling in, just to see how they operate, see what works, watch how the bidding works, watch what sells, watch what doesn't sell. So I think it's important.
Those are important tips. So a couple of quick items that we want to mention so that I don't forget. First off, we are going to have a referral link down below in the description for buying on Whatnot. And we'll go ahead and also post a link for if you want to sell on Whatnot. So we are putting it out there that if you are interested in becoming a reseller, we will have a link and we will split the $200 with you. So you get $100, we get $100, we refer you, you become a new reseller, you have your first auction and make your first sale, and then supposedly we then receive the money, the credit from Whatnot, and we will send money to you. We will send $100 to you, splitting it equally. So that's the first thing that I want to mention. Referral codes for both buyers and for sellers will be in the description. Next thing that we want to talk about is, as a new buyer, I think that it's important, and Bryn can touch on this a little bit as well, that you watch a few videos before you start bidding. And you want to talk about that?
Absolutely. I think it's important to understand how the bidding works and how important it is to watch when people snipe. And if you are not paying attention, you will lose an auction
And what does snipe mean?
in a nanosecond.
Explain that.
Sniping means that...
So let's talk about like What Not 101.
Okay.
What Not 101, it's an app. It's an online auction where there are multiple categories. And people list items in their store, which just means the items that they will be auctioning on that particular auction. Some don't list anything. I don't particularly like that.
We like to shop. We like to look at auctions. We like to preview the auctions. And if you go into the auction tab, there's a giveaway tab, an auction tab, a buy it now tab, and a giveaway tab.
Giveaway, you said sold and purchased.
Okay, so having said that, in the auction tab, that is considered the store.
Yeah.
And when
The items that will be up for auction that night.
Yes, those are listed under the auction tab. We highly recommend that you view those. And there is a bell notification. I think it's a bell notification that says remind me. And there is a reminder that you can set up, and you will receive a reminder on your phone when that item goes up for bid on that particular auction.
On an individual item.
And you can also bookmark the auction itself. But you can bookmark each individual item. And in these individual items, some sellers take multiple pictures and have very detailed descriptions. And I also think it's important, if you have any desire to be a seller, check out how current sellers are running their auction pages and their store pages, and look at how their descriptors are and how their pictures are. Because when you're running an auction, it's hard to get the lighting right sometimes. So a lot of sellers put detailed descriptions in the auction store section as well as pictures.
Okay, yeah, great. So I do agree with Bryn. As a buyer, I am looking for auctions that are very organized. I know that they will run quickly. I know that they've already added all of the descriptions. They've already added the title of what the item is. Sometimes you'll go into auctions and it will either be blank in the store, or it will say like item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4, and you have no idea what's going to be auctioned. Some people are doing auctions live straight from thrift stores or the Goodwill bins, which is crazy to me. So they don't even own the item yet. And they're going into a thrift store and they're holding up items and saying, do you like this? Do you like this? Here's a blah, blah, blah. And flipping through the junk and holding up stuff that maybe people are interested in. And then people are then commenting like, run it. That's basically me shopping with you at a thrift store. And then, I don't know. It's just weird to me. It's
a very weird way to auction off items that you don't own yet.
Yeah. And so there's no risk. So I understand why sellers are doing it. It's just weird. So, okay, so back on track. I'm so sorry. These are going to be story time, by the way. So get ready for that. So sourcing tips. Whether you're buying for yourself, for yourself as just a buyer, whether you are a reseller buying for yourself as a buyer, or whether you are a reseller buying to resell. Because there is, I would say that 80%, if I had to guess. Some people are very forthcoming about it. Some people are not. You know, our channel is Happy Hour Haulers. That is what we are listed on Whatnot. I don't think that there's any question as to whether we are resellers or not. I think that the name of our user ID pretty clearly indicates that we are. But, you know, some people will be just their name, but they're also resellers. And so it's just, I think that a lot of resellers are quick on the bandwagon and the buyers either don't know about it yet because they just haven't been exposed to it, they haven't heard about it, or they're a little hesitant because it's such a new way to source. I do think that the buyers are coming. I do think that Whatnot is gaining traction. We are seeing it every day, and it has changed so much in the last 4 months. And so going back to one of the reasons why we have been so present on Whatnot and so absent from our YouTube, for instance, is because I don't think that it's going to last forever. I don't think it's going to last much longer, where the buyers start to come, more traction is gained on Whatnot, more people look at it as a very engaged, interactive way of buying secondhand thrifted items, and it's fun. I mean, it's fun. Trust me.
There's also an area where you can post for sale items similar to Poshmark.
Yeah.
So that's gaining traction. That's a new feature. And if you put into the search bar, say Carhartt, products will pop up, auctions will pop up, and then a buy it now section will pop up where you have specific Carhartt items that have been priced by the seller, and they're like buy it now items. Yeah. So it's something new they're doing.
So yeah. And it's interesting also because I've watched a couple of videos, and I have heard that Poshmark is actually now in the process of beta testing, doing some live auctions. So talk about them reacting quickly to this. And I can see why. There's a lot of resellers that I know and that we are friends with that are also selling on Whatnot. Some with mixed results, absolutely. But you know, a lot of us are dipping our toes into the water and seeing what we think. I watched a YouTube reseller, and I cannot remember her name to save my life. It's not somebody that I normally follow and engage with, but this has stuck with me big time. And she was quick on the Whatnot platform. She's been on there for a while, and when I was searching Whatnot to get ideas to become a seller, she was on there, and she had a very similar type of video to this, that she was talking about, you know, it's not going to be for everyone. And some people get discouraged because you don't typically get crazy profits on items. Things don't go for what they're going to sell on Poshmark for. But if you think about it, on Poshmark, your item might be listed for 90 days. You've got a million potential people that are on Poshmark searching for items, and then how many people are searching for, you know, let's say, you know that we love Coach. So let's say Coach, vintage Coach. How many people are searching for vintage Coach? So how many eyes are going to be on your item, even if they don't actually click on your listing, which we have no idea on Poshmark how many people click on our listing. The only thing we know is how many people like the listing. There could be 10 people for every one person that likes it that actually viewed it. Unlike Whatnot, where if you're not in that live auction, that item gets sold, and so you're done. And so I do think that you are not going to get as much for your items, absolutely. But so this woman said that she likened it to a fast nickel slow dime. So would you rather have the fast nickel right now or the slow dime down the road? The slow dime is you have to photograph it multiple angles. You have to go in, you have to do full comps on everything to do due diligence. You have to do all of your description information, note any flaws in great detail. It's hard to show flaws in photos because you want to zoom in close enough, but sometimes that magnifies a flaw that really is not that significant. We have seen, I would say that a huge amount of items, if you have a death pile that has flawed items that you don't know what to do with, Whatnot is a great source for that. I'm not saying that, you know, there's a big bleach spot on the front of a shirt or, you know, the bottom of the handbag is missing, but I'm saying typically for us, 1 flaw, okay. 2 flaws, maybe okay. 3 flaws for me, and I'm done. I don't want to list it. I'm not comfortable listing it. It's hard to photograph all of that along with everything else. Where on Whatnot, since it's a live auction, you can show all of that. And people don't mind buying flawed items, especially if it is for their personal use. Or if they're a reseller and they know that they can still list it, and, you know, because of the type of things that they sell, it's kind of their niche, then it might make sense for them where it might not for me. So fast nickel, slow dime. Would you rather take the money now, sell a lot of items really quickly, most importantly, not have to store it in inventory, not have to worry about, marking it down and answering questions and measurements and all of these other things that you're going to get questions about, sending out offers, resharing the item, all of those things. And you can make a fast nickel right now. So you do make less. So just wanted to point that out. So, and I'm kind of all over the place, and I'm sorry, this is a little bit of a different format for us. Normally we're opening up ThredUp boxes and saying, hey, look, I got such and such. But I do think that this is an important video to do, especially for our friends and subscribers, a lot of them who are also resellers and maybe thinking about it, or maybe at the point of, dipping their toes into the water. We have gotten burned on several, when I say several, a lot of our purchases on Whatnot. And so shame on us. It's, there's a learning curve to it. And so we want to share our wisdom as a buyer with what we have experienced and the do's and don'ts, the things to look out for. So when you're looking, find small channels. First off, if you're thinking about selling, or if you just want to be entertained, or if you're looking for something really specific, look for the big channels. A lot of the big channels, they got big because they have good stuff.
Absolutely. And be very, 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 very careful. Be very careful when you have the app open. You can bid and not realize you were bidding. I just want to say that.
Guys, I have done that so many times. So let's see, I'm going to get back to my notes so that I can stay on track. Watch a few auctions before you bid. Sourcing tips. If you're sourcing to either, regardless of whether it's to resell or for yourself, I think that it's important that you find small channels. Again, if you're looking for something specific, go to the big dogs. They got big for a reason, and it's usually because they bring the heat on their items. You'll see a lot of shows that are strictly new with tag Lululemon, new with tag designer. They'll have, everything is Reformation, Free People, Gymshark. You can find those type of channels out there, and those people have great, great items. But some of the smaller channels also have great items. You just have to seek it out. You have to do a little bit more work, but you can save a lot of money. So look for the smaller channels. Look for good video and lighting. I cannot express to you how important this is. A lot of the items that we have been burned on have been people that had really terrible internet Wi-Fi, and the video was pixelated or grainy or choppy, and so it would start and it would freeze and then it would kick back up, and so it was hard to see the item. And so you would be bidding on a Coach and you're all excited because it's a Coach canvas handbag, and there's only 7 people in the auction because the video quality is so poor you can barely see anything. The lighting is not good either. And you win a Coach bag for $4 and you spend, let's say, $9 to ship it to you, and you get it and the strap is completely ripped apart and there's, all kinds of corner wear and the inside is trashed. Well, there's a reason why there weren't more people in the auction. And so, we've had some good luck and some bad luck at those. So just buyer beware. Again, we've touched on the fact that for the most part, it seems like it's mostly resellers that are buying. So if you are a buyer and you are buying for yourself, whether you are a reseller or whether you are just watching our video, enjoying our video, which we love you for, and you are not a reseller, then Whatnot, now is the time to get on the platform. Now is the time to buy, because people are selling things at reseller sourcing prices. So you're cutting out us. You're cutting out the middleman, because the buyers are not there in full force. Frankie just took my slipper. The buyers are not there in full force. Resellers are there buying to source. And so obviously if you're buying for yourself and there's let's say a pair of shoes that you really like and they're in your size and they're used but in very good condition, and they're, let's say, I don't know, what's a pair of shoes that we might think about picking up. So I bought a pair of Rothy's. Here's a great example. I think that I paid $41 a pair for them. They were way overpriced. They are in our Poshmark now and getting very little attention. But at $41, if you were a buyer and they were for you, I mean, what a screaming deal. They're $70, $80, $100 on Poshmark. So source for yourself, look for yourself. If you're hesitant, please know there is so much activity on Whatnot. So many people are buying, and they're buying because you can get amazing deals. And if the resellers are staying, which they are, if they are sourcing, which they are, that means the quality of the items are good if you're smart about it. If you're doing due diligence, if you're paying attention, if you're asking questions, ask to see the inside of bags. Some of these small channels, or these people that have a bunch of bags but that's not their forte, they won't even think to show the inside of the bag. They won't even think to open it up because they just don't know. So if they don't show it, just ask them to show it. And if they don't show it, assume, at least this is what I do, there's a reason they're not showing it and you need to stay far away. New categories are opening up. We are seeing that. So it is definitely growing exponentially. And they're also working on their software. They grew so fast, so quick. And so they're working on their software to make it better. They're introducing new things. They're introducing, there's a new spin the wheel. It seems like a lot of people like the game aspect to Whatnot. Whether it's, mystery stuff, where you can buy like mystery bags, mystery handbags, mystery makeup, mystery items, mystery clothing, whatever. And so people like the fun of it. And so they're introducing tools that give the sellers an option to play different games. And so I think it's entertaining. It really is. So software is definitely getting better. It used to be super glitchy. It's definitely getting better. They're improving every day on that and adding new features, which is nice to see. It is interesting to see how the Poshmark live auctions Poshmark is doing some beta testing on live auctions and doing something similar, which I think is incredible and so smart. I don't know how they pulled it off this fast, unless it was already in the works. And I think that that's a really exciting aspect, where you could buy on Poshmark similar to what we're buying on Whatnot and just do live auctions to make your purchases. So more to come on that. Hopefully it's pretty exciting. Try to find stores like Bryn was talking about that have the preloaded items. So going back to, there's going to be, when you click on the store, when you go into any of the live auctions, and you can go into an auction that is not yet live and check out the store, and you can look at what they plan on running during that auction. And so you'll have a buy it now section, which has items, and a lot of sellers will preload things that will allow you to do discounted shipping, because unlike Poshmark, where up to 5 pounds is all one price, they do not have that buying power that Poshmark has. I'm hoping that at some point they get it, but for right now, you pay a higher price for your very first item that you buy, and then each additional item you get discounted bundled shipping. And so every seller has to weigh the item, indicate how much the weight will be of the package, and then Whatnot will take that additional weight and add it to the initial purchase. And so that's the reason why in the buy it now section, sellers will add like $1 items, $3 items, very, very lightweight items, so that your very first purchase has the cheapest possible discounted shipping. Or, initial shipping, so that any additional purchases you then bundle up with that initial very lightweight item. So they'll do things like scrunchies, stickers, buy me a coffee, people do different things, jewelry, a pair of earrings, a ring, a lipstick, a brooch, but they're looking for something that's very lightweight. So when you buy it, you pay something like $4 shipping, and then your next item piggybacks off of that item. So if you're thinking about buying in a specific auction, look at the buy it now section to see if there are buy it now items that are lightweight that the seller has loaded for you. We like to load socks because to me that's practical, and it's not as taste driven as jewelry can be. For me, jewelry is such a personal taste thing, and so everybody can use socks, whether they're cozy socks or everyday socks or whatever. We've been taking some of our fun box items and loading them that way. So a little bit about that. Always check shipping. One of our Whatnot buddies was in an auction, and she was bidding on a Coach briefcase. And this Coach briefcase she bought, and it was $40 it was a vintage, like a 1990s, early 2000s briefcase. I think it was from the Legacy line. And you know who you are if you watch our channel. And she purchased this briefcase and did not notice until she got a little notification from her that her payment was successful and how much it charged her. There's a little button underneath the description of each auction or each individual item, and it says shipping plus tax, and it's a little hyperlink. It's right above where you would bid. And it says shipping and tax. You click on it and it will tell you the cost to ship that item to you. So that will be in addition to the price that you pay for the auction. So she didn't check that. I'm not always as diligent about checking that myself. I'm the world's worst for it. And unbeknownst to her, this seller had added some crazy weight, like 6 pounds for this briefcase or something, maybe 10 pounds. I don't even know. It charged her $28 shipping. So the item that she bought was $40. The shipping was $28 in addition to that, and then whatever tax was. So it was crazy. And of course, she reached out to the seller and said, oh my gosh, the shipping seems way, way wrong on this. And the seller ended up canceling that particular item, that particular sale, because she couldn't figure out how to adjust it, and because Whatnot takes your money the instant the auction ends. So this was a question that one of our subscribers had for us. With Whatnot, it does not lump everything into one sale. So unlike a traditional auction house, where you bid on items, you win the auction. At the end of the day, when you go and you check out with the guy that's working the front desk, and he tallies up your entire order and says, here's the cost for you today. Whatnot is not like that. Whatnot charges each individual item and the shipping on that individual item. And then again, future items that you buy from that auction, from that particular seller, will bundle with whatever else you purchased. So it will be cheaper discounted shipping with each item that you buy. Okay, next up. So always check shipping. I know that one of the bigger channels had an issue where she has an assistant, and if you guys were in that auction, you'll know. And she felt horrible because she didn't give her assistant clear instructions on how to set it up, and Whatnot asked for how many ounces that things were, and the assistant put in how she didn't do the conversion, and so maybe it was the other way around. She was doing ounces instead of pounds, and so if it was 1 pound, she was adding like 16. So it was like crazy, and so all of that auction, most of everything that had been entered for that auction was charging like $40 shipping, because it was reading it as a $16 or 16 pound shipping item. So pay attention to that for sure. Try to find shows with a preloaded store, and then find multiple items in that store to bundle on shipping. There is nothing worse than going into an auction, not paying attention to the store, buying your first item. Typically for us, it's going to be $9, whether it's a pair of jeans or a pair of shoes or a handbag. That's primarily, what we'll look at. Sweaters, sometimes jackets, sometimes. And so, that stuff is heavy. And so we'll buy the first thing, and regardless of how cheap it is, let's say that it's only $5, well then we've got $9 plus tax on that. And so it gets expensive really fast if you want to hop around. Find a channel, look in the store, make sure that you see other items that you are interested in, and then all of a sudden the $9 and $4.50 each additional item, although it adds up, it's not nearly as bad. So definitely recommend that one. Ask questions before bidding. We do this a lot on our Coach bags. It is your job as the buyer to do your due diligence. So if they did not show something, or let's say that there was a flaw noted and they forgot to show it, ask to see it. Ask to see the inside of a handbag. Ask to see the creed of a Coach bag. Ask to see, if you need a measurement, if you need a chest measurement or a length in, a pant leg measurement, ask the question. All of the good resellers out there, they're gonna have a tape measure if they don't have measurements already loaded, which most don't, and I don't. But if you need that, if that's important to you to make sure that something fits for you, then ask the question. Even if it means the auction is gonna run out, and even if you lose the item, even if there's other bidders, it's competitive, you want the item. Unless you're willing to resell it if it doesn't fit, stand your ground and don't bid unless you get the answer that you need. And then if they say, oh, I just saw this, do you want me to measure? Yes, I do. And they give you the measurement, and you can always say run. You can always say, yes, please run that, thank you. I will say, please be kind. Please be kind to these sellers. It is hard putting yourself out there. A lot of these people are doing it solo, so there's no interaction. They're doing it by themselves. They're trying to keep up with the store, the computer aspect, pinning the item, running the auction, choosing the next item, finding what they're going to show in their closet, along with keeping up the chat. So if they miss your question, just ask it again. And if you're going to ask a question and they answer, say thank you. Be kind to these people. A lot of them will spend 2 or 3 hours in an auction and sell just a couple of things. So they are grateful. They're grateful for the business, and they will answer your questions if they see it. Very, very few times have I seen a seller that doesn't answer a question. And usually if the question is asked more than 2 or 3 times and they don't answer it, it's because they don't want to answer it. And you should leave that auction.
Absolutely.
But in general, it does seem like most of the sellers that are on here, they just miss it. I know that we were on our first live.
Oh my goodness.
Been there, wore that. said that she was in there and said hi like 5 times and wanted to show us support. I missed it. I was having so many issues with trying to figure out the software, with trying to locate items, and then the computer wouldn't let me pin, and I'm getting off on a tangent. Anyway, they probably just missed it. But also, if you want something, then say run please. That's the pretty standard verbiage. Don't hop in a live and be rude. Common sense, common courtesy. You wouldn't do that at a normal auction house when they're in the middle of an auction that's being run. You wouldn't just like stand up and, yell out, run 18. You would kind of politely put your name on the list and say, I'd love to see 18 when you get a chance, or something to that effect. All sales are final, but there's a but. If an item is not authentic or not as described, first, please contact the seller. Much worse. And this goes into my also buyer beware on liquidation. Liquidation can be great and liquidation can be terrible. In my experience so far, it has been incredibly mixed, and I will say that it seems like most of the liquidations have the worst reviews. And I think it makes sense. I think that with liquidation, a lot of times you end up with items that have flaws, and they have a lot of inventory that they are flying through, and they're not looking everything over, every inch of it. And there could be a very, very good reason why this $100 item is in a liquidation box when it's a highly desirable item. And so a zipper won't work, or there will be a hole, or there will be a significant snag, or in my particular case, I bought a pair of Birkenstock sandals, new with tag, not in the box. Totally fine with that. Paid way too much for them. They arrived. It was a liquidation reseller on Whatnot, a pretty big one. And it was a pair of Arizona, so it was the traditional 2-strap sandal. The front strap where the toe is, the buckle, you've got the buckle itself, and then you have the little tine or tong that comes down that attaches to the hole, and that's what keeps the sandal closed. That was broken. So there was no way to keep the top strap secure with that piece that was broken off. I can understand why he may have missed that. I totally get it. I reached out to him first, and I reached out to him for 3 days straight. I waited until day 4 when he was doing a live auction, because again, he's a big reseller on Whatnot. He was doing another live auction. He did the auction. I waited until 2 or 3 hours after the auction ended. And then I reached out to Whatnot and I said, hey, I have an issue. I've contacted the seller. He has not responded to me. I took screenshots of it. I've got an issue. This flaw was not disclosed. If it had been disclosed, I never would have purchased them. I think that I paid $44 plus $9 shipping. And these are unwearable. And Whatnot asked for more pictures. I sent them more pictures. They sent me they said, here's your options. We can give you, I think that they were going to give me like 30% off of the item, or I could send the item back to them and they would give me a full refund. And I said, they're no good to me. And so I would like to send them back. And so they actually had me send them directly to Whatnot, not back to the seller. So I thought that was awesome. So everything is final sale. You buy it, you own it. Except for if it's not what you were told it was going to be, don't take it laying down. Don't say, oh, well, it wasn't shown, and don't get discouraged. A lot of the resellers on here, they're very honest. They want to sell you quality items, and if you reach out and you say, hey, this item is not what I thought that it was going to be, it's not as described, it's, it has this issue or that issue, they may ask for pictures, but at the end of the day, they're gonna do right by you, so always reach out to them first. But know that Whatnot will also have your back. So, And then, let's see. Don't be afraid to ask for bundles or reduced pricing. Most sellers are open, especially at the end of an auction when things are quieting down. And I will say that some of our best buys have been pretty late night. So if you are a night owl like me, then some of those late auctions, there's just not as much activity. There's not as many buyers that are shopping, it doesn't seem like. And so if something runs and it doesn't sell, be nice about it. But ask, you know, this bag you're asking 20 for, would you consider 15? Would you consider 10? Maybe they'll say no, but maybe they'll come up with a price that they will work with you on. I've also done things like our buddy Hive that we love. He'll show items and I'll say, hey, can you set that to the side for me? Hey, can you set that to the side for me? He'll show, he doesn't always have his store loaded. I wish that he did. He doesn't always have his store loaded with the items, but if he's showing something, then he'll actually set things to the side in a bundle for me until I get like 3 or 4 items, then he'll weigh them, and then he'll do just the bundle of those items. So, you know, if you want top 2, 7, and 10, ask the seller, would you take $10 or $15 for these 3 shirts? And let them take a look. Maybe they say no, but it can't hurt to ask. It's kind of like a swap meet or a flea market, you know, and Poshmark for that matter. If you don't like the price and nobody else wants to buy it at that price, then certainly throw it out there. Just be respectful about it. Typically, though, you're not going to be able to do that unless the auction has ran and everybody in the room has passed on the item and it's still for sale. That's a great time to throw it out there that you'd be interested. So anyway, I think that that's all that I had for this. I know that it was kind of long-winded. How long are we at? Like an hour? Oh my gosh. So guys, I'm really sorry. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to end it here. Any parting words, Bryn?
Thank you folks very much. We do appreciate it. And if you have any questions or you have any comments, please leave them in the comment section. We will ask them or answer them to the best of our ability with our experience. And if you if you get into an auction and you have a question, email it to us or put it in the comment section of this video. And like I said, we'll do our best to answer it for